Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of our YouTube live podcast with Classic Home Concepts. So we're here again, and I'm with Kenzie. Just wanted you guys to say hey if you're watching. Give us a shout out. Write a question, a comment. Just let us know that you're here. Kenzie, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
It's been a week, but
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
It's been a week. So today's theme is where is Chris? Chris is where? He's gone. And we are happy that he's able to get away with his family. But we've been kind of doing our own thing without Chris in town. So how's the week been going for you?
It's been busy. I mean, every week's kind of busy right now. It's kind of our prime time and our prime season. But I was just telling Tim before we started that like the phones have just been nonstop all week. And when Chris is not here, me and Aaron's our field supervisor. We kind of tag team running the show, and I handle the customer and the office side of it, and he handles the field guys and the job side of it. So we've just been kind of tag teaming along to push through.
No major hiccups yet?
Nope, we've not had any major hiccups yet.
That's good. That's good. So that's good. That's good to hear that everything's going well. So I figured before we figure out where Chris is, we'll just kind of chit chat a little bit so we can kind of let you guys know what we do, just kind of the day in the life of a small business. And we all have various roles and assignments. So what does a week look like for you in general? Does it look different? Does it look similar? I don't know.
They're pretty similar. My biggest thing is that I rely on Chris a lot for venting and for just to like run off of him. I've only been with the company for a few months, and so I just use him as a backboard and make sure his vision and my vision are kind of going the same direction at times. And that's probably what I miss the most when he's not here. Is he always jokes with me that he leaves the office and within 5 minutes I'm going to call him or Marco Polo him.
Yeah.
And so I've really been trying to give him his space this week and leave him alone. And so that's probably my biggest thing is I'm a communicator, and I like everyone in the group to know what's going on. And for him not to be in the know is just pinching me. So
that's funny. So before you mentioned that you've been here a few months, when did you start?
I started in April.
Okay. So
I think, yeah, April.
What jobs did you do before coming to Classic Home Concepts?
A couple years ago, I was a department manager for Menards, and so I designed kitchens and cabinets and stuff. Designed bathrooms, kitchens.
So you kind of had a construction background in that. Kind of had a
especially the
idea.
designing side of things. Yes. Now, if you go tell me to pick out the difference between 2x4s and stuff like that, no clue. Not my expertise. Right. I know my way around a Menards though.
Yeah, but I guess you probably have an idea, at least coming in, on how long it will take to get things in and just kind of the ins and outs of all the variables with a construction project.
Well, yeah, definitely working in retail has helped me direct how I handle a customer that might be upset that lead times are long, or that customer service side of it. Like, you have to have that in retail. And so bringing that into this position has definitely helped. Also, being a department manager while I was there, that has really helped me on weeks like this when Chris is gone. Like, I've ran the show before, and so it's a little different, obviously, because it's not open, retail hours and doing a store. But yeah, it definitely led me to being confident and comfortable in what I do here.
Well, I've not had any construction background prior to coming here, and I'm not obviously the one working in construction here, but that was something that I think was most, I don't know, surprising is the word, but I guess I just didn't realize just how involved each of the variables and the processes to get a job done from start to finish. Right. How many different pieces have to fall in place for the project to get done. I think that was something that was kind of a big learning curve, because, when I'm thinking about how to structure my week, there's so many different things that are involved that affect what I can do and what I can get done. The same with you guys.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of how I feel. I didn't realize, like, we've hired contractors and stuff around for my family and this and that, but I didn't realize, the planning that
Mm,
goes into a job, like getting permits and making sure that the city and whoever else is on board ordering dumpsters and
mhm.
all those things, like making sure every piece of the puzzle is put together. And that really takes everyone that works here to
Right.
coordinate together and communicate with one another to make it all come together.
Right. It's not just weather delays, which
Right.
that's kind of the thing that I thought was probably the biggest component or opponent to being able to finish a project. But
Hmm.
just thinking about the outdoor kitchen we've been working on, and when you are creating something and you're subcontracting, you got to have the plumber and then the electrician, and then you have the granite and countertop, and then you're waiting on appliances, and then the prices of wood is all over the place. So
Right.
there's all sorts of pieces that have been interesting and kind of taking on this
Well,
job.
and that's something I don't know that if customers always think about. We've talked a lot the last couple podcasts about the questions the customers have.
Hmm.
And we do talk about weather delays a lot, but supplier delays, if there's a lack of a product or something and the supplier is not getting it and it can't go into production or it can't be delivered to us, like that's not on us. We
Right.
have no control. Our supplier doesn't have control over that,
Yeah.
but it's still frustrating. So
Right. I bet. So what's it like working with your brother? That's something that I've been curious about, and I thought this would be a great time to talk about it.
why he's not here, he can't defend himself. It's good. I mean, him and I both we're very similar
Mhm.
in a lot of ways. And so we kind of get each other. We know when someone's having a bad day or in a bad mood, it's not the time to
Mhm.
mess around or
Right.
whatever. But we've also, I don't know, we just really mesh well. There's not very many times that what I'm thinking isn't the way he's thinking and
Mhm.
vice versa. Like we both have that same mindset that this is
Right.
how we're going to do things. And um, it's also good to have someone there in your corner. I mean, he knows very well that
Yeah.
I have struggles I used to work nights before this, and so I was home with my kids all day. I didn't have any trouble taking them to school, picking them up from school, and he gets it. He's a dad. He gets that. I last week I missed the podcast because I had a sick kid at home. I
Mhm.
mean that
Right.
part's of being a parent, and that's probably the most rewarding part of it being my brother, but also even working for a company. He's like that with everyone. That
Mhm.
he's not everyone's brother. Um, of being understanding that family comes first, and that's kind of the route we
Right.
take as a business, and so that's comfortable. I've always been in the past, like if I woke up at 3:30 in the morning with a sick kid, like, oh, what's work gonna say about this today? And
Mhm.
he's the first to say, grab your laptop and work from home, do what you
Right.
need to do. And so that side of it is very comforting, and um, knowing that I have that peace of mind to not have to worry about those struggles.
Right. Well, I do notice that you guys like to interrupt each other.
Oh, yes, we do interrupt each other a lot.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing fight of who can say the same thing the best
Mhm.
way.
Right. Not
So,
not to interrupt. I hear that a lot.
yeah, I
Like
do say that all the time.
but in all seriousness, I think that shows the closeness that you guys have. It
Mhm.
definitely shows that you guys are close. And I think that that's awesome that you guys are able to work together, because I don't know if all siblings would be able to do that without
Right. Well,
killing each other.
he's not my only sibling, and I don't know if I could work with the others.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I mean, him and I, we did talk a lot before I came to work for him about, we're at work, like
Mhm.
as much fun as we have and hard times as we give each other, like at the end of the day, we're at work. So if we got mad at each other last Saturday, that doesn't matter Monday morning when you get to work.
Mhm.
We're working.
What do you think is the most challenging part of your job?
Lead times.
Yeah. Right.
um, I mean, I don't want to use the term people pleaser, but I'm a people pleaser. I like when people are happy with the work that we give them. And, you know, I like how when people find gratitude, I guess, in the job we do. And so to be the person that makes those phone calls of, well, your windows didn't come this week, or it rained Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so we're not going to be able to get to you till next week. being the person that makes those phone calls, that's probably the most difficult part of my job.
All right. We got a question here. Let's see. Let's show it. Ooh, Joe Everest.
Hi, Joe.
Hey. How much has productivity increased with Chris out of the office this week?
100%. No,
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's funny though, is sometimes, company or business owners leave work and they think that, is anyone working? Is anyone doing their job? And like Chris has done a really good job of who he's hired. And, we work the same as we do if he's there or if we don't there.
Yeah.
About the worst part of my productivity is I haven't had any lunches this week because Chris and I go eat lunch a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't had a single one.
Yeah, that is nice when you have people that you can trust and trust to be able to get the job done. Yeah, I think that's similar to as far as the most challenging part of my job, kind of creating this media and branding coordinator from scratch. Just trying to figure out what my schedule will look like, and then working alongside the delays and the schedule shifts, and then we've had a couple of guys that worked with Classic Home Concept that have either been let go or have gone on to different jobs, and so that shift has caused your work and Chris's work to look different, and so our schedules kind of get flipped around, and so that's been somewhat challenging to kind of have that routine, because I really like kind of having a routine. Just my personality. So I like to kind of have that. All right. I like the Monday morning meeting. I know that it's 7:30 meeting. We're in the office, but
I'm barely awake.
But for me, that helps me kind of get orientated to the week. Like, okay, so these are the things that kind of were left on the table from last week. These are the things that we're going to be working on in the next few days. And so I can kind of figure out like, okay, I need to be at this project on Tuesday morning, and then I'll be over here on Thursday afternoon. And then I can kind of work around it. But like so many things, it's been delays or, it's just, that's the nature of the business. So that's probably for me, the most challenging part.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're both pretty new to the company. What's the coolest project that you've got to film or take pictures of since you started?
Coolest. Yeah. I think the outdoor kitchen is by far. I mean, I just think it's cool because I like grilling. I love barbecuing. And so for me, I'm always like, oh, this is something I'd like to have in my backyard at some point in my life, to be able to have all the different equipment. Cause my wife's yelled at me many times when I'm trying to, sear a steak in the house, and it smokes up the whole house. And so just to have the ability to, slow smoke potatoes and also have a burner where I can boil, some water and, so having all of that outside. I mean, I love being out there anyways. So I would love that.
A nice setup.
Yeah. It's a very nice setup that we've been creating. So thinking about being able to get involved in that sounds pretty rewarding, because you're not only, with windows and doors and siding, for some that's an upgrade and we're wanting this, but probably for some people it's just, we have this broken window and we have to replace it. It's not like
old windows that are drafty or
It's not like, ooh, this is an exciting project. It's just a project that I need to get done. And so I'm biting the bullet. Whereas when you're working with someone who's putting in a pergola or a sunroom or an outdoor kitchen, they're excited to get it. And so it's kind of a fun project to work with someone that's putting in, that kind of project.
Right. Yeah. I really like that deck that we just finished last week.
Yeah.
With that sunshade on the side of it. Yeah, I really like that one.
Really
with
good.
The pergola.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, do we want to see where Chris is?
Yeah, we can find him.
Yeah, let's see if we can bring him on here. So we're going to have our first guest from afar, and we'll see how this works here. All right.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey there.
How are you?
Good. So where are you?
Well, I don't know how well you can see it, but that's the ocean. I'm not good at doing this.
There we go. We can see it there.
Awesome.
We are in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Like you guys said, we work really hard all year, and the kids are going back to school in a couple weeks, so decided to take them and have a little fun.
Yeah.
How was the car ride?
Car ride wasn't bad. We split it up over 2 days. Kids got a lot of screen time. Luckily, our 15-month-old Benton is really good as long as Coco Melon's on until he gets hungry. And you stop and feed him, and he's okay. So kids loved the hotel. They like that we're in a different city. It's been really good. You talk about me being in the office and being in the know, and I just shut my work phone off. So if any clients are watching this and I haven't given you a response, it's because I'm not here. And I don't have a way to have an automated text response. So that if you text me, that's probably my biggest thing. But yeah, I haven't. I talked to Kenzie once, and that was about 15 minutes ago. Just making sure that I could get on and be here for the podcast. And other than that, I haven't touched work. Yeah. And it's been really, really refreshing. Took the older 2 kids to the ocean last night and swam as the sun set, and they thought that was super cool. Yeah. Just exploring Myrtle Beach and actually having some downtime for once.
Do you get nervous leaving us here?
So that's a long-winded question, but the short answer right now is no. You said it earlier, and this is my 7th year in business, and I feel like for the first time really that I have a team that's capable of handling stuff. I'm fully confident in you, Kenzie, to be able to communicate to clients and have hard conversations if a supplier doesn't have stuff ready for us or whatever it is that we struggle with. Or I fully trust Aaron or Jordan to handle whatever needs happening in the field and make a decision that I'm willing to stand behind when I get back, because I've built that trust and I found those people that aren't just employees. They really are part of the family, and they really have a vested interest in growing this thing and staying long term. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but you talk about Aaron doing his job really well. He actually turned down a job to make double what he makes right now. Wow. Because he saw the future of the company and he saw the growth potential. And it helps that the other job was on the road working 6 days a week, 80 hours a week. So, but our guys really care. And the ones that care and show up and put the effort in, they stay for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's awesome that you're able to have that perspective and feel like you can leave work at work and then go and have time with family. How is that? How is that balance? Was it always that way? Were you always able, kind of talk a little bit about that? Like, what is that like as a small business owner to step away for R&R?
I really think that bringing Kenzie on and having Aaron and Jordan really step up in the last probably year has changed everything. Mm-hmm. To give you some guidance, on my honeymoon 2 years ago, I was taking work calls because some of the people that I had in positions in the company weren't doing their job. They weren't communicating effectively to clients. They weren't holding up their end of the stick. And that's a struggle that every small business owner goes through, especially right now with unemployment being what it is, and several people just choosing to stay home because they can make similar or slightly less money with full unemployment. Like, why wouldn't you stay home and spend all your time with your kids and play if it's the same amount of money?
Right. And in general, I think it's probably not a good idea to take work calls on your honeymoon, right? So
yeah, I got in trouble for that one.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But in my defense, that company paid for us to go on that honeymoon and paid for that wedding and paid for what the kids do. And so for me, it's hard to separate the two, because the two most important things in my life are my company and my family.
Mm-hmm.
What do you, what does this do to your mind space to step away from a week and, take out? Are you ready to come back Monday and hit it full force, or do you have a hard time adjusting when you get back? Or
well, I'm a workaholic, and so I have to be very intentional about turning off my work phone, stepping away, not answering an email. So yeah, I'm ready Monday morning to hit the ground running.
With no shoes on, right?
Huh?
With no shoes on, right?
Yeah. Here at the beach, we run with no shoes on. I'll probably have to put them back on when we get back to the gravel and rocks of Missouri. But I love it. I love working, but I'm also really, really trying to not think about it while I'm here.
Mhm.
And that was my deal with Courtney, my wife, is hey, I'm going to do this one podcast on Wednesday, and that's the only time I'm going to think about work, talk about work, do anything work related. I mean, I even, like when we were talking earlier, you had sent me a couple texts on my personal phone, work related. I'm not doing it.
Right.
And I want to, but I
Mhm.
just know myself, and that's a slippery slope to, if you answer one, well, let me just jump on my work phone or on my iPad and check the emails, because I'm sure there's several that need responses. But it's good to sit here and look at the ocean and get perspective and see, like, with what we do, there are really no emergencies.
Right.
You know, we're not, unless, like, the only two emergencies I can ever think of are if a water pipe bursts, which it's not winter, so that's not very common. If that happens, call a plumber. Or if there was something electrical issue, call an electrician or the HVAC guy. Like, but you know, making selections on the next outdoor kitchen or on a sunroom or whatever, like, those questions can wait a week. It's not going to kill anyone.
Right.
And it might even be a good reminder in this day of instant gratification that it's not going to hurt you if it takes more than 5 seconds to have an answer.
Well, and I feel like we have such good customers. I mean, there's some people that have called and asked things for you over the last couple of days, and I'm just like, well, he's enjoying time with his family this week. We'll get back to you first thing next week. And, you know, they're all, if anything, they're excited and happy that you actually took the time away to go enjoy time with your family. Like, they see how hard you work and what you do for them. And, I mean, we kind of complain about you getting to see the ocean and us not, but you know, besides that, like, they're happy that you took this time away and that you're enjoying time with your family. Cause I feel like so many business owners forget about that side of things, and they are workaholics, and they just put their head down into their business and go running. And, so I think that, you know, they even realize that this is a good thing, and it's not, oh, well, he's making us wait a week.
Well, and one, we're really fortunate right now with how the industry is and how in demand construction is in general, that it's not just, and this is something that's always been really important to me, but like, it's not just the client choosing the right contractor, but it's also the contractor choosing the right client.
Right.
And so we're fortunate enough that we're busy enough, and we've built a brand and we've built a reputation that we don't have to take on every job. We don't have to deal with every client that's not a good fit for us, just as much as we want to be a good fit for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and I will say one thing you asked about when I'm not there earlier, because I was watching. One of the things that I really like about not being there is it makes everyone communicate.
Well,
because
on the weeks you're gone, Aaron and I communicate. Well, Aaron, Jordan, and I mean, we communicate far more. And I think that we do the same communication when you're here. We just do it through you. Like, I'll call you and say one thing, and Aaron will call you and say one thing, and you kind of communicate it back and forth. And
by the way, Tim, did you notice that I didn't even finish that sentence before she was cutting me off?
Yeah. That's awesome.
It just happens.
Yeah, but
not to interrupt.
Well, and like, I feel like a jerk sometimes doing it, but ultimately I'm the crutch of the company, and that's what we're really working to not be.
Right.
Is, you know, I want to be able to go to someone's sunroom consultation and really focus on them and not answer calls and not, you know, have to talk to you immediately or talk to one of the guys immediately, because right then that client has my attention and my time blocked. So I want them to have my full focus. And I've had to kind of, I feel like a jerk sometimes, where people will say, hey, what's the answer to this question? And I said, well, like, if someone says, hey, what's Kenzie doing this time? Well, I bet Kenzie probably know that better than I would.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Or, hey, what job is Aaron on today? And I'll send someone Aaron's number. You know, they already have it, but it just proves the point that, like, not everything has to go through me. And we're really working on being autonomous and everyone being a crucial cog in this wheel, not me being the center hub and everyone being a spoke.
Right. Well, that sounds like something that probably a lot of small business owners need to learn. So what are some steps that you've implemented over the years to kind of balance, you know, work time and home time, and also just efficiency? Like, okay, don't just come to me so that I go to this other person, but we're
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll answer the first question first. the family work-life balance thing. Honestly, there's not some days. There's just not balance. It's really hard to say, I'm going to go to work at 7:30 and I'm going to get off at 4:30 and that's all I'm going to do every single day. Because from going back to that autonomy thing and letting the guys do how they think is best, like Jordan loves to work until 6 or 7 o'clock at night to get a job done so he doesn't have to go back the next day.
Right.
Well, if he needs to talk to me at the end of that day, now there are rules. He knows my son goes to bed he starts his bedtime at 7:30. I'm not answering that call. But if he calls me at 6:30 and he needs to talk about, hey, we got this done, or he's sending me a text to let me know like what the plan for the next day is. There's a running joke we used to have when one of the project managers we had was working for us before he decided to go to another career. But we live around the word pivot. And yeah, you smile because you remember those. He hated that word, but it's what we do.
Yeah.
And so you can't just have complete balance and be able to pivot like that accordingly. This isn't one of my best employees I've ever had ended up ultimately leaving because he had a little bit of OCD and he wanted to be able to go to work at 9, get off at 5. And that's just not the reality for us. If the job finishes and you're off at 3:30 because there's no point in going to start something else, then you're off at 3:30 that day. If it's 5 and you've got 30 minutes left to finish and then you got to clean up, you probably should just finish that job and get off early on Friday.
Yeah.
And so balance doesn't happen all the time. But the steps that I take to do it are twofold. One, probably the best thing I ever did was I got a personal phone and I guard that number almost with my life. Tim, you don't even have that number. And I talk to you all the time. Like, no one in the company except for Kenzie has it, and that's because she's my sister.
Lucky.
Yeah.
We can talk about that at the lunch table.
But, going back to being a workaholic, like, so at 6 o'clock every night, I turn off my work phone. And so I tell clients, I have a client that likes to text me at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning when he's thinking of stuff. He understands that that's not my schedule. He's not going to get a response, and I'll respond in the morning.
Right.
And as long as you communicate that and you set the expectation, I have never had a client with an issue with that. And I did that, I don't know, a year and a half ago, something like that. And it was probably the best thing from a family standpoint that I've ever done.
Right.
But then the other side of it is building a business and not owning a job. So Tom Reber is my business coach, and he really talks about that. He built a $2 million painting business, and now he's the host of a new HGTV show, and like he's really made it pretty big. And he talks a lot about, do you own your job or are you building a business? And I don't want to own a job. I can go work for someone else and leave all my stress and headaches at the office when I leave every day, or I could build this thing but then it's about culture. We have Monday morning meetings every day, and it brought a tear to my eye. 4 weeks ago, I gave everyone a book called Extreme Ownership, and we have a big group text that runs around, and one of the guys told me that they'd made a mistake, and someone else in the company said, hey, don't tell the boss when you mess up, just fix it. And the guy responded and he said, no, Extreme Ownership says we're going to take ownership for our successes and our failures. And then we're going to be better to not make them again. And it was just like that's what it's about. That's how you find balance, is you find people that can handle the office while you're gone for a week, or handle the field while you're gone for a week, that aren't going to take it's good enough as good enough. They're going to strive for excellence. And so you really have to put people in position to succeed. You have to give them the ability to succeed, and then you have to hold them accountable to succeed.
Well, and I think it helps that we also talk about transparency a lot. And not only are we transparent with our customers, but you're transparent with us. Like, that's what I was telling Tim earlier. Like, I have a sick kid. I'm not like scared to death to text you and be like, I got a sick kid today, And in previous jobs, it hasn't been that way. There's been times I've been worried that like I might not have a job if I take a sick day because my kid's sick. And, being transparent with you, or a couple a couple of weeks ago, like I was having a rough day, and we had a rough start to our year. And so that creeps upon me. And, I was having a bad day, and I was just like, I'm taking a mental health day. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, but I'm not crying in the office all day, and you can't do that at every job. And there's been the guys, they've had rough days or needed to go get their truck fixed, and it's only open 8 to 5. Well, they're at work 8 to 5 most days, like you're very transparent with us too, that like there's a life outside of just the job we're working.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I said we're building a family and a culture here, like that's a real thing. It's, when one of the guys says, hey, my grandma needs to have emergency surgery, I can't work the rest of the week. Go, we'll figure it out. I don't know what that answer is or how we're going to figure it out, but we will.
Right.
Even if, worst case scenario, if that means calling a client and saying, hey, my lead had a family emergency and he needs to not be here, so we need to postpone your job because I want you to have the excellence of him being on site. Like, one, goes back to picking the right clients. Two, most of them are completely understanding. But two, in the off chance that they weren't, you'll get over it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, like, someone's grandma or someone's kid or whatever it may be, like, that's way more important than making sure this deck is done today.
Right.
On the other side of that, when I talk about no balance, like, there are days when you took that mental health day, cool, go do your thing. And there's days before where you're like, hey, I've got a sick kid. And I'm like, great, these 3 things still need to get done today. So you need to come get your laptop and knock it out.
Right.
There are some things that need to happen and there's some things that don't. And it's just about being a human, especially in today's world. Like, I feel like so many people are so quick to get offended or yell at someone else and blame someone for their unhappiness, where it doesn't matter all of that. It's, let's find a way to make it work. Let's be a team. I remind the guys all the time that, like, before we started this extreme ownership thing where they'd be like, it was quick for someone to place blame. Well, it doesn't matter, because even if I'm never on that job site while it's happening and that deck turns out poorly, that's my deck that turned out bad.
Right.
If someone's like, oh, well, that gap is too big because the other person cut it short. Okay, cool. Well, call them out that they cut it short. We will pay for that $6, $20, $200 board and make it right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So that's my big thing is there's no balance, but you got to build culture.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of it too, is just you set up things for balance, and that's the goal, is to have it, but realizing that it's not always going to work that way. I appreciate your vulnerability and letting us know, like, hey, I try, but it doesn't always happen. I think that's part of what we're trying to do, is be transparent and open and saying, like, yeah, we're not going to candy coat it and pretend like we've got all the answers here and we figured it out. But, we're working and things happen, life happens. And that's good. I think that's also speaking to culture, is you being away. I think that is good for the culture, is for you to be able to say, like, listen, yes, I am the owner of this company, but for things to get done, it doesn't have to end and begin with me. I can step away. There's kind of a Sabbath orientation to that I think is really healthy.
Yeah, well, and, I wasn't going to specifically talk about it because I think Kenzie's the only one that's ever really used it. But I would have no problem with one of my field guys saying, hey, I'm about to smash someone. I'm so frustrated with this other personal thing in life. Like, I need to go take a mental health day. I need to take a personal day for me. Like, one of the reasons I started this company is because I worked for a corporation that they wanted to squeeze you for everything you were worth, and they didn't want to give anything back. And I want to give back to my guys. Mm-hmm. I've got guys that have kids that, we've got a guy who's going to be a dad for the first time in a couple months. Like, and he was so nervous to say, hey, can I go to the first ultrasound? Yeah, go.
Right.
Right.
That's way more important than whatever we're doing.
And that's just, that's the culture of other companies, is that employees feel like they can't ask off work, or even I know people that work jobs that have vacation time or sick time allotted to them and they don't take it because they feel like they're going to be shunned for using what's theirs. And I just like that this culture here is so opposite of that. I mean, you know, we try to give back to the guys and everyone as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who are you smiling at?
Benny's waking up. Hi, baby. Hey, come here. Come here.
Yeah, it'd be nice to
Come here, baby.
Probably
Come
took a
back.
nap. He
Oh,
wakes
it's
up
bright.
like 6 in the morning.
It's bright. Can you say hello to
Oh,
everyone?
look at that.
Oh, hi, Ben.
Oh, my.
He's like, no,
He's like,
up,
we're not
everybody.
working now, Dad.
you're not ready yet.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
But yeah, you know, it's funny because, like, as we're sitting here talking about it, I like to riff and run on ideas as they come up. But you talk about people that have vacation and never use it. I kind of like the idea, and I finally understand why companies say you have to use it every year or you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's because, like, hey, I want to take this vacation away from you. It's, hey, everybody needs one.
Right.
So take
Right.
it. We're going to
Yeah.
make you take it. I don't know if I want to say necessarily like, hey, you're going to lose it, but maybe like I might want to switch the company policy to, hey, you're going to use it, or we're going to write you a check at the end of the year for that bonus time.
Right.
Like you're not going to lose and punish you for not taking it if you don't want to, but we really want to encourage that.
Well, and it is good. That's what I was bringing up when you first came on, is like your mental space is completely cleared for Monday morning. I mean, you got a break and took the stress of the week away and completely forgot about it. And, you know, hopefully Aaron and I did a good enough job that there's not more when you get back on Monday.
Right? Hey, Danny, come here.
Yeah, I think the rhythms of rest is
Get that
important.
belly.
That's a huge thing that I think we need to learn more often, is that there has to be balance. We have to be our best at work. We also have to have rest to be our best at home. And that is part of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being human. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's one big thing that you see Europeans do a lot that America doesn't, is Europeans will go on holiday for a month.
Mhm.
And it's nuts to me. But like I want that.
Right.
And some of that comes from like just America's crazy dog-eat-dog world corporate society, which I love capitalism. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But I don't love it at the expense of living a life.
Right.
And so that's
Right.
where, like, you know, you talk about transparency, and one of the things that we're really transparent about is I pay my guys really well. I pay my people really well. I think I pay you two pretty well. Like,
Right.
Do.
being able to pay people well means we have to charge accordingly. We'll never be the cheapest contractor because you don't get to pay people what they're worth and give them vacation and account for mental health days and all of the things that drive being a really good company from an employee standpoint. That doesn't come from being the guy who's the cheapest deck builder or sunroom builder or that. And with that, we're not going to be the cheapest. We're also hopefully going to provide the best experience.
Right.
Or one of the best experiences.
Right.
You know? You need a spink? Oh.
Yeah. Where was it?
So it's all just culture. Like,
Yeah.
And it's
So what's
it's not
on
just
the
fun.
what's on the docket for today? You got any big plans?
We're gonna go play in the ocean, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna go ride a big Ferris wheel down on the pier,
That'll be fun.
and we're gonna play with the sleeping baby now that he's awake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
And
go
then,
enjoy that. That
then
sounds
there's
like a
seafood
good day.
market down
Yeah.
the road that we're gonna go. Hey, we're gonna go get some fresh seafood and cook at home.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. Really
Well,
excited.
you have a good time. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Cool. We'll
See
see
ya.
you guys later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, it looks like they're having a good time.
Yeah. I would like to be on that deck right
Right.
now. Bet a
Shoulda-
nice cool breeze is coming in. Sounds
Shove
fun.
myself in a suitcase.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But I don't know, that long trip.
That's
that would have
a
been
long
tough.
trip
That
in a
would have been tough.
suitcase.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for jumping on with me and letting
Mhm.
me jump in and be part of it. So,
Yeah.
anything else?
I don't think so. We'll be back again on Wednesday at 11:30.
Yeah, if you just will like and subscribe, hit that like button. Also, we're trying to send out notifications on when we're going live, so you can actually hit. There's like a little notification bell that will remind you when we're going live, so you don't even have to think about it anymore. Also, just comment below and let us know what are some questions, some topics, some ideas that maybe you'd like for us to talk about and riff on and have a conversation about. We'd love to hear from you.
Right.
All right.
See you guys.
See ya.